When starting up a Cambridge system that utilizes EDSM controls, you will notice a white MaxControl sensor located in the control station in the building. There are two options for these controls. The first option is a standalone control. It is a MaxControl part number T244A. You will notice this control will have a temperature dial and a thermometer. This control must be mounted in the space that is being controlled. The second option is considered a tamper-proof system. The first control will be a TD244A. This is on the left. It will have a temperature dial and no thermometer. The control on the right is a TS244A. It has no dial but a thermometer. This control must be mounted outside the remote control station. Prior to turning the disconnect switch to the on position on the heater, please refer to the nameplate and reference the voltage. Cambridge has dedicated voltage on all of our heaters, 208, 230, or 460. Next, refer to the max gas supply pressure on the nameplate. This is the max allowable gas pressure that the heater can accept. On the nameplate, note the minimum gas supply pressure for the purpose of max input adjustment setting. This is the lowest amount of gas the heater can accept and still obtain the manifold differential pressure from the nameplate. Now note the manifold differential pressure setting on the nameplate. This is the amount of gas the heater will burn when it is in high fire. Be sure the nameplate reflects the type of gas that you are using on this heater, natural gas or liquid propane. Open the access panels on the far side of the heater and view the nameplate on the side of the motor. Refer to the FLA for the voltage the heater is designed for. Now, to gain access to the control enclosure, open the two latches on the side of the control can and open the door. Now verify the supply voltage matches the nameplate voltage. In this instance, it was 460. Confirm all three legs are 460. Now you must verify the supply pressure feeding the heater does not exceed the nameplate supply pressure. In this instance, the supply pressure stamped on the nameplate was 5 psi. Be sure your manometer can accept the amount of pressure you are looking for. Once your manometer is connected, open the ball valve and view the pressure. In this instance, it was 2.5 psi. Now take your multimeter and place it on DC microamps. The symbol will be a lowercase cursive U and uppercase A. Remove the red wire from the flame safeguard relay and place the red lead on the spade of the board and the black lead on the push-on removed from the board. Now open your two access panels on the same side as your control enclosure. Open the left door and the right door will be spring-loaded. Once the doors are open, locate the 1/8 inch pipe plug below the ball valve. This is the point closest to the burner for observing manifold pressure. Remove the 1/8 inch pipe plug and install your manometer at this point. Your manometer should read 0 to 10 inches. Sometimes 0 to 5 may be sufficient. Now locate the mixing box in the upper right corner and remove the 1/4 inch Tek screw which holds the lid on. Remove the screw, slide the lid up, out, and then down. Inside this box you will notice the discharge temperature sensor and high limit switch. Between the two there is a black rubber grommet. Use a temperature meter that utilizes a thermocouple or wire thermistor. Slide this thermistor or wire in the grommet about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Pull the wire to the side. Reinstall the cover by sliding it up and then down. Now turn the disconnect switch to the on position and place the blower service switch in the local position. Once the blower starts, turn the blower switch back to the off position. Look in the heater cabinet and observe the blower rotation. The blower rotation should be clockwise from the control can side. If it is not clockwise, you will have to change the phase. Now place the blower switch back in the local position, and once the blower comes on, measure your amp draw on all 3 legs on the bottom of the overload. Average the amp draw, and it should not exceed the overload setting on the overload. Typically, when the heater is wired, this calibration resistor is removed. For the startup, remove the shielded wires landing on terminals 21 and 22 and reinstall the calibration resistor. This resistor is a 7.5K resistor. Once this resistance is inputted to the amplifier, the amp will fall to the max fire pot setting of 160. Therefore, you'll be able to calibrate the discharge to 160. Now locate wire number 3 on the amplifier, loosen the screw, and remove the wire. When it comes to setting up the manifold differential pressure, it may be beneficial to locate this section in the startup procedure in the manual. You must note the nameplate manifold differential pressure and then any negative or positive static seen while the blower runs by itself. Any negative pressure will be subtracted from the nameplate. Any positive pressure will be added to the nameplate manifold differential pressure. Open your access door and locate your regulator. In this instance, there is a Maxitrol MR212 valve. This is a combination valve. It's a regulator and a modulating valve. If this valve is not present, you will see a Maxitrol RV61 or RV81. Remove the cap from that regulator. In this example, the MR212 valve, loosen the 2 screws on top of the square cap and remove the cap and place it in the bottom of the unit. Once the cap is removed, remove the dime-sized cap located inside the valve. This dime-sized cap is your regulator. Now you're in a position to adjust your manifold differential pressure. Now place your burner switch in the local position, and once the burner fires, it will be in low fire start. After several seconds, it will come out of low fire start and go to full manifold. At this point, you should match your nameplate manifold differential pressure setting plus or minus your static. Adjust the regulator accordingly. Once this is done, turn your burner switch to the off position and reinstall the dime-sized cap in the MR212 valve. Now the manifold pressure has been set properly. Place your gas manometer and your temperature meter on top of the unit. Reinstall wire number 3 on the amplifier. Be sure to tighten the screw adequately. Note the max fire potentiometer on the amplifier. This should be on 160. Now place your burner switch in the local position. The burner will fire in low fire start, and after several seconds it will go to full manifold pressure. As you can see, it's at full manifold pressure. At this point, discharge temperature sensor is heating up. Once it gets too warm, it will communicate with the amplifier that it is too warm, and it will back off the manifold pressure. At this point, you will think the burner went out. It did not. Once the burner modulates back, the sensor will cool down again and the manifold will increase. You will need to give it 5 to 7 minutes and observe the temperature on your temperature meter. You are looking for a temperature of 155 to 160 degrees. If you are greater than 160 or less than 155, you will need to calibrate the system. As you can see on my temperature meter, I am not reaching 155 to 160. At this point, I will need to calibrate the system using a potentiometer on the discharge temperature sensor. Now remove the mixing box cover, and on the top of the sensor you will see a gray sticker. Using your screwdriver, peel the sticker back in the upper left hand corner to expose the potentiometer. You will turn this potentiometer clockwise to increase discharge temperature and counterclockwise to decrease discharge temperature. For this example, you must turn it clockwise to increase the temperature. Once again, we are trying to reach 155 to 160 degrees. Once you make this adjustment, give it several minutes to stabilize. If you are still not at 155 to 160, you will need to open the door, remove the cover, and adjust the potentiometer once again. Now we will check the min-fire flame signal. Locate wire number 9 on the amplifier, loosen the screw, and remove the wire. This removes voltage from the amplifier, thus removing voltage from your modulating valve. In this picture, the MR212 valve has a quarter-size cap. Once you remove that quarter-size cap, there is a slide mechanism inside the valve. Loosen the lockdown screw and turn the mechanism counterclockwise to increase the manifold pressure, clockwise to decrease the manifold pressure. Once you make this change, lock the screw back down again. Once again, you are verifying a strong flame signal on min-fire. In the event you do not have an MR212, but you have an M611 or M511 modulating valve, locate the low fire bypass on the bottom of the valve. In this picture, I am pointing to the low fire bypass. Simply remove the blue dust cap and adjust the fitting inside. It is a needle valve. Turning the fitting clockwise will decrease gas flow, counterclockwise will increase gas flow. In the event you do not see a blue dust cap or low fire bypass on the bottom of the M611 or M511 valve, it will be located on the opposite side. So if you must adjust this, you must remove the dust cap from the opposite side and make your adjustment. You will notice when you're in low fire bypass, you will see 2 or 3/10 of an inch of gas burning. When you're in bypass mode, verify your flame signal is 3 to 5 microamps. Once again, be sure you are on DC microamps on your meter. Once you have observed an adequate flame signal, reinstall wire number 9 on the amplifier. At this point, the amp will have control and the unit will modulate to full fire. Turn the burner switch off. Now we will perform a leak test procedure to verify the integrity of the gas valves. Turn the ball valve off and go to the control enclosure and locate your leak test switch. It is a momentary switch. Push to the left and hold. This will send 120 volts to the first gas valve, thus allowing gas through and backing up on the second valve. If the second valve leaks, you will notice pressure increase on your manometer. After several seconds, if there is no noticeable pressure increase on your manometer, remove the hose and reinstall the pipe plug. Be sure to properly tighten the plug. Then remove the pipe plug between the two gas valves. Once the 1/8 inch pipe plug is removed, install your manometer at this location. Be sure to tighten the fitting so no gas will leak. Once this is done, verify your gas cocks outside the heater are in the on position. At this point, gas will sit on that first gas valve to the right. If that valve leaks, gas will leak through the valve and will build up pressure between the two valves, and you will see this pressure on your manometer. Observe your manometer for several seconds to verify the pressure does not increase. If no increase in pressure is observed, remove the manometer hose and reinstall the 1/8 inch pipe plug and tighten. Now reinstall your square cap on top of the MR212 valve and tighten the screws. Now remove your mixing box cover and remove your thermocouple. Reinstall the cover, insert the 1/4 inch sheet metal screw and tighten. If using a separate manometer, remove the manometer hose from the supply piping and reinstall the 1/8 inch pipe plug. Be sure your ball valve is turned off at this point. Once you reinstall your pipe plug and tighten the pipe plug, be sure to turn the ball valve back to the on position. Place the blower and burner switch in the local position. Once the burner fires and it goes into high fire, spray all gas fittings on the gas train inside the unit and outside to check for leaks. If using a liquid leak test solution, if bubbles are noticed, you must tighten that connection. If it's an electronic detection device and the device goes off, please tighten that connection at that location. Once this is done, close your right door, and then close your left door and turn the latch clockwise. Now turn the disconnect switch to the off position and remove your meter wires from your flame safeguard relay. Be sure to reinstall the red wire on FP on the flame safeguard relay. If a post-purge timer is used, be sure to set to 10 seconds and reinstall in the base. Now locate your calibration resistor that you installed on terminals 21 and 22 and remove the resistor. you may want to place the resistor in a secure location in the control enclosure as to not lose it. It may be useful in the future. Now reinstall the wires on terminals 21 and 22. If there is a ground wire connected, remove the ground wire at this time. If the ground wire is loose, simply cut the ground wire off. This circuit must only be grounded at the remote control station end. Reinstall the wires on terminals 21 and 22 and be sure to adequately tighten the screws. Be sure to tuck the wire in so when you close the door, it does not stop the door from closing. Verify both service switches are down in the remote position prior to closing the control can door. This completes your startup. Be sure to latch the door and tighten the latches. Once this is done, be sure to turn the disconnect switch to the on position. Thank you for watching.